without a mission is a living apparition. A hate-filled religion, a human contradiction.
Hate and jealousy going through your mind.
Going nowhere.
Hit so heavily, the pain will make you blind.
Going nowhere.
Joy and ecstasy seem so far away.
Going nowhere.
Live so dreadfully and dream of better days.
I speak from the driver's seat. I hope you listen to this knowledge I christen. I've been in that position. A black zombie seeking everything.
Hello everyone, welcome to the latest iteration of the Gen X Lounge. We have Lady Curls a Lot on my side here.
I think my name changed, but thank you.
Was it? Actually,
Wasn't I Sir Curls a Lot? But then we didn't like Sir.
That's true. You're not a sir.
I don't even know if you can do lady or sir anymore.
That's true. I gotta work on my
keep it neutral.
pronouns.
Oh man. So
Curls
what,
a
just
lot.
curls a lot?
Curls a lot.
Okay. So then with that, I guess we have Apple Crisper on the side here.
Just still okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
yours works.
Yours still works.
What about yours, Sir Genesis? We're gonna have to change that Sir.
Well, I mean, if we just put Genesis, then I might have some copyright issues.
Oh.
Yeah. Although, it'd be pretty cool if someone wants to download my music instead of the actual I Can Dance Genesis. No, it's okay. We're going to do that. I just want to say thank you to everybody who has been paying attention to the Gen X Lounge. We do have some previous episodes up. Thank you for checking that out. And please like, comment, and subscribe. We will love making content for you, and we want to keep going and really want to hear what you think of the podcast. Okay, so, Curls a Lot, what do we have on the docket for today?
Our topic is Gen X, which is appropriate, but don't mess with us. And there's reasons why we say Gen X, don't mess with us.
Okay.
We've been through it all, pretty much at the end of the day. I feel like we're a healthy balance between the past generation and the current generation.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already experienced things that they're kind of, well, a little soft on right now.
There's many
With
things.
no supervision,
Nope.
no support for the most part. And depending on your home situation, if it was both parents working from,
Yes.
out of the house 6 till 6.
Yep. Yeah. You fended for yourself. I remember when my mom, when she had to go pick up my dad at the LRT down somewhere in downtown, I was by myself by probably 7 years old, told not to go outside. Obviously, did I listen? Not really.
No.
I used to have my little piggy bank, and I would take all my coins, and there was a local Max store. Back in the day, it was called Max. Now I don't know what it's called now.
Oh,
It's
yes.
Willow. I don't know. It wasn't 7-Eleven, but it was called Max back then, and now it's a new name. And my cousin and myself, we used to take my money, count it all up, go to the local Max store, and buy all the candy we could, and then run back home and hide it. I don't remember, and if my mother ever listens to this, I don't remember if I ever locked the door when I was leaving.
Oh, man.
I was a walkaholic because I was scared to death of the family.
I should have been.
Discovered that it was unlocked.
I should have been scared because my mama was hardcore back then. You can get away with shit, but I think I was so scared that I forgot, and I'd be like, I'm running to the store. This is my rebel side.
But it wasn't, they had no tabs on you. There was no cell phone.
No.
And so I'd say 97% of the time they had no idea where I was. Was I in the neighborhood? Was I next door? Was I downtown?
You know what's funny? We never did, at least for myself, I never went on crazy expeditions. I was always near-ish to home. But you're right. They had no idea.
No.
We were at the playground. We were around with random children that they had no idea who these friends were.
Mm-hmm.
Playing on playgrounds that had gravel and not tar or tires. Sorry.
That's
children
true.
of the future.
Well, the best part is, with our parents, though, granted, a lot of them, my parents worked, all the time.
Yeah.
So they would just, let us run wild.
Yeah.
Now, granted, in regards to the locking of the doors, we always locked them because we would always find some crazy stuff happening in our neighborhood. I know that we had our place broken into a few times.
Oh,
shit.
So they were just for sure, lock the doors. But we were the kids, we were the Streetlight Kids.
Yeah.
We would go out,
Yes.
my parents would go out, and then we would go around the block, and then people would be like, hey, you want to go out, you want to play, you want to go with water guns, you want to play basketball out there. And then we met all the new people around the neighborhood and got into some shenanigans too. I think there was one time where we were annoying this one man. Like, I mean, everybody has a little stupid story, but I know our group, we annoyed this one guy in our park it was in Edmonton. We called him the crazy French guy. And yeah, I know it's not, things were different back then.
Can you still say crazy and French together?
That might not go well. We're going to get cut. Someone's going to comment on our podcast and be like,
yes, it was not the smartest thing to do, but things were different back then, and we're really sorry about it. But this guy, we used to throw things in his yard, and it was not a good thing, but
you were like the Sandlot Kids. There's a movie about you.
But one day he got mad, and he hopped that fence and ran after us. There were about 5 of us, and we were running as fast as we could. This guy had to be about 50-something, and man, could he run. I couldn't believe it. He kept up with us, and we were like 14, 15, and we were trying to go. He was hopping fences, and we're just like, part of us were just like, run, 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 but other parts were like, wow, this guy's not bad. We're just like, I want to see what we can do to be his age and still be doing that. But we had, I guess the point of this was we had like no supervision.
Yep.
We were relaxed. We were chill. We did do a few things. Like, I mean, even when we were younger, we were playing on the swings and we busted our kneecaps and jumped off that big high like swing and slide that we weren't supposed to. And we have the scars to prove it.
Yeah. I was injuring myself so often and going to emergency so often that they called in a social worker on incident number 3. And I think it was I had gone over my BMX bike. Yes, tomboy. And
that's up. That's what's up.
My teeth went through my lip.
Oh.
So it was like a whole kind of like little new smile I created. You know what, ladies? It's better than like getting injections from what I remember looking like and what I see people looking like.
Jeez, CRISPR, you were a boss growing up. That's
So
what's up.
a neighbor happened to be driving by in their sweet ass station wagon with the wood paneling.
Oh yeah.
I got brought in and eventually taken to the hospital. But I had so many incidents with stitches in a short amount of time that they had to call in the social worker to independently question everyone. Question me, question my poor parents, and they're like, this has got to stop.
Okay.
So were you the child that now starts all the questionnaires like right on the bat as soon as the child gets hurt? It's like that's the first question that gets asked. Mm-hmm. I bet you started it, dude.
I started it probably. I'm so sorry, parents.
CRISPR!
And a lot of it was on my face too, so then it just seemed like, all right, who slammed you into the wall? But it was me that was going into something too fast or getting hit by a hockey puck in the eye or
oh my gosh.
Which you'd think they would see that as like a sports injury and not what did your parents do.
Yeah.
But
if
you
it
do it enough
happens,
times,
you become of the pattern.
and I couldn't even understand like why that would even be a concern. And my parents told me that years later, and I was like, really? Like they didn't think a girl could be that rambunctious? Like I thought all of us were like that. Jumping off of things and
I was like I
think we all
climbed
were.
trees.
Yeah.
I would climb because I
Usually
would
you
like challenge myself with my boy cousins, and I'd be like, I can do it too.
Yeah. You'd manage your first aid by yourself unless the bleeding didn't stop.
Yeah. Oh, and you wouldn't stop. If you got hurt, there was no
just
falling
kept
down
going.
and crying.
Yeah.
And
Nope.
you might cry a little, and then you're like, I'm going to go play again.
You go right back into it.
I wish I knew about crazy glue back then, because that is what I use now. And it stings, and it's not medical grade. But like back then,
Don't
it
do
would've
this
been
at home.
so much easier, and I wouldn't have had to like go into emergency to get my face stitched up again.
Well, I find that absolutely, that's crazy. And yes, I know I would have been probably one of the parents looking at her just like, I wonder what's going on. But that's good. But
Gen X kid that
That's
had
it.
no rules and could be out doing things on unsafe playgrounds.
Keep in mind also what we watched. This was the era of like WWF too at the same time. So all the time, like especially with my brothers, my friends, first thing we did, watched like any type of WWF and we tried out the moves on each other. We're like pile drivers. Absolutely. You get hit, you're on the ground for like 5 minutes, and then you get right
Yeah.
back up. We're like, okay, DDT, let's try that out, see what happens there. And it was really fun. We got hurt, absolutely, but there was nothing as more exhilarating from jumping off of like a tree, doing like the Macho Man, like elbow and the Hulk Hogan leg drop. And we came out okay.
And we can
Few
still,
broken
like, when we got
bones.
hurt, because we wanted to still be able to do that stuff. We thought we were tough as
Exactly.
nails.
Yep.
So you didn't go to your parents and
No.
say,
No,
oh, this
no.
happened.
No.
You had bruises.
Oh, I
you
totally
had-
did.
Yeah.
Rolled ankles, you name it. Why
Yeah.
are you laughing? You make up a story, right? You didn't have to.
Only time
Tell
you
them
got
anything.
yelled at is when your clothes were ripped.
Yeah.
And they were
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, what did you do with this? I just bought this. That
It
would
could
be
have
the thing.
even been a Zeller special and you still get yelled at.
Oh,
or
yeah.
you ripped $2 shorts.
Exactly. You'd still get yelled at.
Maybe that's why we appreciate stuff so much too, because like it was
That's
ingrained in
true.
us that everything
You don't
is
destroy
like, you
anything.
take care of it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
There isn't this,
And you
like,
take care of
disposable-
yourself. Self-sufficient.
Yeah.
That was one thing I think Gen X has over other
Yeah.
or maybe it's just the passed down through the generations versus the current ones. You're super self-sufficient.
Oh,
You don't
yeah.
rely
Yeah.
on anybody for anything.
I do not like to ask for help, and
Me
I blame
too.
my parents for that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm exactly the same.
Yep.
It's hard for me to ask. Anytime, even if it's something small, I'm just like, I'd rather someone just do it and not let me ask or see.
Yeah.
You know what's kind of funny? Maybe that's why I'm going to use an example here from, sometimes when they have those silly TikTok challenges.
Yeah.
Where it's like the milk crate challenges or eating Tide Pods or whatever like that. I don't know why they would do that. It's ridiculous. It's not toughness. It's stupidity. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
so the new generations, they need to toughen up.
I know they do need to toughen up, but it's almost like they haven't had an experience of.
Yeah.
I want to say experience of pain, but more of an experience of not being safe and knowing what to do when that happens. I don't know.
And building your resilience.
And building,
Yeah.
exactly, building resilience and actually learning from that. Because if you learned and you fell off that slide, you wouldn't be doing some stupid milk crate challenge.
Yeah.
You would be like, that's stupid. I fell off of that and I broke my arm. I know what I'm
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not eating Tide Pods because, hey, you know what? My mom washed my mouth out with soap and that was absolutely terrible. And that tastes terrible. I'll be the one person to say, I'm not sure if everybody around the tables had that, but I have. Not cool at all. So I was burping bubbles for weeks.
No sending you to the corner.
I don't know. I think our tolerance for boredom is way better. We can, because we had to make up stuff. We didn't have all the things back then.
Yeah.
And we just don't have that intense need for attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to go on a platform and have people liking me because I've done something
24/7.
incredibly stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not of interest to me.
You might be right about that, CRISPR, because they're talking more about TikTok and how it reduces your gray matter. Those who brains are not fully developed, because it takes 25 years, right, for your brain to fully develop. And they're finding now that TikTok, I think there was a survey, there was a reel actually, and yes, I did see it on Instagram, but I don't go on there all the time. But there was a reel that commented on folks from or children from other countries, what they want to be when they grow up versus American. And I don't know what the demographic necessarily was, but in general, American children chose to be influencers versus the other countries chose to be, I think it was an astronaut, according to the reel.
Yes.
And I'm like, there has to be some correlation there,
Yeah.
right? That what they're exposed to compared to what our generations and our parents' generations, yada yada, were exposed to were a lot different. And I don't know if it's for the better.
You weren't celebrated back then for doing a
Nonsense.
milk crate
No.
Yeah.
challenge or
Yeah.
whatever. You're
No.
celebrated for real talent or intelligence or accomplishments.
Things that contribute to society to a certain degree.
So then what happened?
Oh my gosh.
Social media? No, you can't blame everything on social
Yeah,
media.
we can't blame
I feel like
everything.
that's a bit of a
It's-
cop out.
It could be definitely a factor.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what exactly happened? Why the sudden drastic change?
Do you think that part of it is like parenting trends, like the Generation X and maybe millennial parenting style. Those who grew up with less now want to make sure that their children have nothing to worry about, but it removes a bit of that ability to fend for yourself and build your natural survival instincts that we all were born with as part of nature versus nurture concepts. So I wonder if we've overcompensated now. So now we have a generation that we created, to be fair, to remove all those obstacles because we think life will be easier. We don't want them to struggle. But the struggle is part of building their character.
Yes.
And so we've accidentally made a bit of a monster in a way.
Yeah, it's a monster of our own creation. We made our own Frankensteins here.
A little bit. It feels like that. Well, I mean, look at mental health. It's like skyrocketed.
Yeah. Well,
Beyond.
you see how many of those influencers commit suicide or have an untimely death from, something else.
Overdose.
And not, I mean, we saw that, I guess, maybe way back in the day, our generation and before, where you'd see some celebrities that would get too into the drugs a little bit too much, and same thing, would have an early untimely death. But now it just seems like same thing on social media. You're always seeing these individuals they're passing away in their 20s and sometimes younger.
Yeah.
And they have millions of followers. They should be like just feeling pretty good about themselves, and
it's not enough. There's no connection being built. Everybody wants to connect through social media, and they think that because you don't maybe contribute to it or you don't engage in it, that somehow you're not building connection. But I feel like it's the opposite. I think it's creating less connection.
It's
just
an empty
surface
connection.
level.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to describe it, is empty connection.
It is.
It's not really
false.
made. It is false.
Right?
Yeah.
And you're always wanting more. It's like you're never satisfied. And so you keep doing the same repetitive, like me, want me. But deep down, you haven't dealt with your own issues.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Because I remember as a kid, like, just getting a good score or a gold star on a spelling test was like, oh my gosh, I was floored.
Yes.
Math ribs!
So it doesn't take much. So I don't need that level of millions of people giving me a gold star. I just need one person to notice something I've done, and I'm good.
Yeah.
There's a lot more of a difference to make a one good friend in person than there is to be, let me put something cool up on Instagram or put something cool up on TikTok and get a whole bunch of different likes and comments. I guess people are confusing the fact that, hey, I got more instead of something more valuable.
Yeah.
So,
Quality versus quantity.
And I guess it doesn't make any sense, because when those likes go away, and they will go away, you aren't going to be there forever.
But it's a culture thing too, though. I mean, we celebrate those who have quantity.
Of course.
Look at that. You get monetary contributions
You do.
and slogans and companies coming to you to sell their product because you have this many followers and this many likes and yada yada. So we're not celebrating the right thing.
Well, and isn't that funny though? Because you would see people like the Kardashians who use Instagram and use TikTok and monetary piece.
Yeah.
But a lot of people look at them and say like, oh wow, look how popular they are, look how liked they are. But they don't really realize that let's say, I don't know, Bill or Bill or Sheena. I don't know the names. I'm sorry. Just my apologies if your names are Bill or Sheena. I'm just putting that out there right now. If Bill or Sheena are taking a look at that and they start saying, hey, you know what? I'm getting a lot of respect because I have like 10,000 followers. And they're just like, wow, that equates to them like really, really liking me because the Kardashians have it. But they don't realize that the Kardashians, this is business for them.
Oh yeah.
They do not equate it to people really, 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 really liking me.
No, it's a business tactic.
It's a business
and they can
tactic.
separate. I'm sure they can separate the two.
But
They're
some
pretty
people,
savvy.
the younger ones, don't see that. They see it more of a like, hey, people like me, or this is a gauge of their popularity. Not all the time.
Because they didn't have to go through the same struggles that some of those celebrities had to. Some of them were of the Generation X and prior. So they grew up with a different generation, so they know how to separate the two.
That's true.
And that's versus the quote unquote influencers. And I don't want to name generations because I've seen adults even in my generation also falling into this trend too. So I don't think it's just a generation. I think it's the influence now that's happening in society and the culture that's being shaped by us, for us at the same time. So how do you change that?
Bias
Can you
for
change
us.
that?
It's like a reverse FUBU that she said.
Can it be changed? I don't know.
That's a good question. I have no idea.
You could do what the reel said. The reel said, this should be your last reel. And then delete Instagram forever. But then we're all going to have FOMO. Just a little
Well, I
hint
think
of
it was
FOMO.
another social media thing that was sent by a friend about resiliency being another form
Yeah.
of intelligence.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that we now have to name it as an intelligence because people seem to lack it.
Yes.
Whereas when we were growing up, you could go through a lot of hellish things. I mean,
Yeah.
I lost my dad at a young age, and there was no doting on me and making sure I was okay. I went back
Yeah.
to school a day later.
Yeah.
You just got your shit together.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's right, but I'm saying like there just wasn't that, hey, if you need to be out of school for 6 months, or if you need to, take one class a year.
That's true.
There was
No
no
accommodation.
option to just fall out of life because something bad happened.
Yeah. You rolled with it.
It was,
were.
how do you make something good come from this?
Yes.
And that sort of set me on my trajectory in the career I ended up going into because of that. It wasn't something that, well, now I'm going to go do drugs and drink
Yeah.
myself senseless because woe is me. It was, how can I make something out of something really terrible? And
Yes.
I don't know if that happens as consistently anymore.
I don't know.
And we now have to name resiliency as like a special
Wow.
new intelligence
Wow. We love to categorize, don't we? And label.
because we're seeing so much lack in that area.
Yeah, that's probably why. We have to bring it back and identify it. Yeah, you're right. Versus it being embedded as you as a person. Wow.
And I mean, I'm not out amongst the young ones, like living with them to see where that's at, but it feels like from a distance that
It would be interesting to maybe have a different perspective on what our future, if we ever find someone who is maybe not millennial. I would say what is after millennial? Gen no.
Is it Gen Z?
Is it Z?
I don't know.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah,
let's
it would
look at
be.
a chart.
Yeah, it would be interesting to hear their perspective if they don't shy away from the fact that this is in real life and that they're not allowed to have their phone beside them. So if we were to ever go down that route, we have to make some conditions and see if they follow it. The one thing I will appreciate for the newer generations, they do know the difference between of like having work-life balance
Gotta
Yes.
remember that.
and focusing on their passion more than I think my generation and early millennials, I would say, because I'm
would
kind of on the
agree.
cusp there, right? Whereas we were taught to work hard, you
Yeah.
stay, you're loyal, you're like all of those perseverance, which are qualities that might not be there anymore as evident or as high level compared to what we have, but on their end, they're focusing on their passions more, although they might be fucking broke. But
They might be bringing the 4-day work week to us.
I
so-
know.
Which is
so
really
there are
good.
good things and maybe
Well,
not so good things.
I do like the fact that the newer generation is a lot less cliquey in one sense. The fact that you could have football players hanging out with the
Yeah.
so-called nerds or hanging out with the
Yeah.
drama people all together in
Yeah.
one group. Back in our day, that never
We were
happened.
siloed.
We were
I
all
had
siloed.
that, but I was one of those floaters.
Oh,
I
okay.
floated between all groups. I
Yes.
just, whatever felt right in the moment.
Yeah.
See, and
But I had my core group of friends, but I would float.
Yes.
And that's always how I've
and that's the
been.
thing though. With us, we were the same thing, but we were like a group called like the Floaters or something like that. So we would have the
So you
people
still
there.
need a title.
So yeah, we would still have that where they were
It's like
like,
little
oh, they're
gangs.
okay, you can do it, and there were little gangs like that.
Yeah.
So and I like the fact that the newer generation has kind of pushed that to the side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody can really just.
They're
chill
more
with
inclusive. I will give
Yeah.
them
I
credit
will
for
give
that.
that,
Yes,
so.
100%.
I watched Mean Girls again recently.
Oh,
So
okay.
I had the person I'm dating watch it with me because he'd
Yeah.
never seen it and he thought it was
Never seen
hilarious.
it either.
So good. And we want his daughter to watch it because we really want to see her
She's
take
Generation
on it.
Z, isn't she? She would, or is she the latter end of millennial?
I don't know. I need a chart.
So that's all
Where she-
good. Yeah.
Because I'm curious if that resonates, those cliques and those groups and how people interacted or didn't interact.
Yeah.
And if that like makes any sense. Because that definitely existed, but as a floater you could just kind of be like, oh,
Yeah.
there's the goth kids.
Yeah.
They have cool music happening right now, and you go over there, and or they have a good party happening that weekend, and the other groups don't
You're not
have a party.
excluded. Yeah.
So,
Well, wait,
they
didn't
just-
Rebel Wilson do a movie recently about that where she was like in a coma forever?
Yeah.
And then she's
Oh.
and she was like
She
the
goes back to
popular
high school.
girl and the cheerleader, and then she goes back to high school, and it's so different. There is popularity, but it's more the
Yeah.
influencer popularity.
Yeah.
But they're still trying to be inclusive. They're kind to
21
everyone.
Jump Street did that too.
They
Remember
did.
when they
Yes,
went
they
back
did.
and
Yes, they
what
did.
was cool was no
Yeah.
longer cool.
Yeah, and they'd call each other out, yo, man, like, that's bullying. What
Exactly.
are you doing here?
And I think Jonah Hill's character was like, oh, I would have totally been
Yeah.
awesome in this thing.
Yeah. Reverse roles there.
You know, I'm kind of curious now, and this is just off of my old childhood, of wondering if, because we had like grade 10, grade 11, and grade 12, and all the time, just because I was like on the football team, I was actually cool with our grade 12s and grade 11s, but there was always that kind of like animosity and that silo between your grade 10, screw you, like our grade 11,
Right.
screw you, that kind of a thing. And in fact, when we first came into high school, we actually learned a little bit about beware of the grade 12s.
Wow.
Yes,
well,
I remember
Yes,
this.
and it was,
Yes.
I never had
don't
that.
approach them.
Oh.
Don't talk to them. Like,
I
My
will
school was
tell
not
you
like
a
that.
You're
story.
garbage.
Yes, absolutely. And the first day, I knew something was wrong because I was with my two best friends. And then we came into our school, and all the prettiest grade 12 girls were there. And they were just like, oh, welcome. And they would give you a kiss on the face. And then we were just like, oh. And then I stepped back, and I said, there's a lot just giving kisses out there. And then you would look to the side, and you'd see the bigger grade 12s on the side. And I was just like, oh.
Set up.
Oh no. And it was a setup, and they were like, hi, handsome, come over here. I'm like, no, it's okay. But my buddies, they were just like soaking it in because they were just going into all of them and getting kissed. And I was just like, this is a setup.
Your spidey senses
And at
were
the
on par.
end of the day, I was after classes, I see them getting what we used to call, I believe it was frosted or hazed
Yeah.
by the grade 12s because they use those kisses as
Markings. Oh my
to know
gosh.
who were the new people in there. And I was just like, yup. And I was just like, that was the kind of things that happened. Part of me was just like, this is, as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, this is warfare right off the bat. And then you were just like, I know who to trust. And the worst part is these were the bigger dudes. Because I met them, the only reason I got a little bit of respect is because I was in football. But yeah, they were relentless against the grade 12s, grade 10s, my bad. So yeah.
So that's where the
learned
don't
pretty
mess
quick.
with us comes from, that
Yeah.
survival Darwinism theory.
Yes, yeah.
I think we also have a lot of stay in your lane.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
see
Yes.
like younger generations are
They
just
don't stay in
all
their
over
lane.
the place.
Yeah.
They're like, I'm going to go be CEO. And it's like, well, no, you got to do the 20
Do your
things
time!
and the years and the
You
things.
can't jump up to number one off the bat. Come on, man. Yeah, I know.
Well, that comes to the theory of like everybody gets a certificate or an award. It doesn't matter how good or
Yes,
bad you are.
exactly.
Everybody's equal. So if we're doing that to our
true.
new generations, of course they're gonna have more of that. I can be CEO at the same time and
Yeah.
skip all of the hard and toil and bust your butt kind of work ethic.
And I want the same pay as the person that's
Yeah.
been here for 20 years
Yeah.
because I'm
Exactly.
really smart.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you know
Yeah.
what? I don't knock the fact that I do.
I appreciate that.
I do like the fact that they're just like, hey, I can do whatever, but it's not an expectation. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
That's the entitlement
feel,
and
that's
privilege.
entitlement, exactly.
There's a
That's the
line.
problem.
I still don't feel like sometimes I deserve things.
Yes.
Like I have to convince myself.
Me too.
It's okay.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
deserve that position or
Yeah.
a pay increase.
Yeah.
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
because I'll feel like, well, maybe I need to do more
Yeah.
to make sure I deserve this.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. They have entitlement. We have imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's a good way of putting it. That is a great way of putting it.
I do. Well, I think that's pretty good for today. We've covered a whole bunch of topics, including potential gang warfare, and which I kind of look back at it now and think that was absolutely brilliant. But it was absolutely
70s
terrible.
and 80s growing up.
But yes,
That was
absolutely.
part of it.
Except the 70s.
I
know,
did
we
hear
have
about
to
my
talk
mom's
about-
high school antics and the sororities and stuff she had to do.
Yeah.
It was worse.
Is
It was
Wow.
it was
Ooh.
pretty awful.
But was that American versus Canadian?
Canadian.
It was Canadian.
Yeah.
No.
And the same high school. We went to the
Yeah.
same high school.
Yeah, they were brutal back. Isn't it crazy? I mean, maybe this is another podcast topic for another day, but actually hearing the stories of your parents and how they actually align with yours. When I was finishing my master's and I was in like London, Manchester and London, and I was visiting my family, my uncles out there. They would tell me all the things about like the cool things that my dad would do, and you're just
Nice.
like, oh my, that's interesting, and I'm just like, yep. With those bell-bottom pants and those shoes, I could totally see you doing all that. But that is a topic.
That's
for
another
another
topic.
day.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know what? We're actually going to sign off. And as I said at the beginning, if you do like hearing us talk about everything Gen X and everything else in between and outside, please give a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you so much. Anything else?
No.
No. It's a lot of talking.
I
A lot
know.
of
We did
talking.
good.
Very nice. Okay. Bye, everyone. And have a wonderful...
out.
Peace.
Yeah.
No breaks, but never misses its mark. Off the charts, so enjoy the show. Grab a seat in the front row and watch the naked truth slide down the stripper pole.
Daydreamer.